Y'all trying to charge them 20,000 and trying to charge me this and trying to charge niggas under us this. Then that's what you're saying. Now, what if Young Boy and Rod Wave don't use the beats no more? Then what?
Damn, you hate to see a producer and a rapper fighting. So from what I understand, this is footage of Yungeen Ace, who's a rapper. He's got hits, cussing out his producer, or one of the producers he works with regularly, for overcharging him for beats. Apparently, he found out that that same producer was charging Rod Wave and NBA Youngboy less for beats for some reason. So I'll be honest, producers sometimes are really weird about their numbers, about what they charge for beats, depending on who they're talking to. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't charge different prices for different artists. Obviously, if an artist is signed to a major label, that major label has a higher budget. Their terms are going to be different. So in all likelihood, you're going to be getting a lot more. They're going to be offering you a lot more right off the bat, and you have more leverage to demand more in those scenarios than you would with some local artists from down the street that's still up and coming. But what a lot of producers in the comments were saying was that, yeah, this producer should charge a rapper that gets fewer streams more because there's less money on the back end. I feel like there's a flaw in that logic. What do you think? I brought it up to Aaron and we debated that point, but we also debated whether or not producers have gotten greedy now that, let's be honest, producers have way more options to make money today than we did 25 years ago, 20 years ago, even 15 years ago. All right, here's the full video of Yungeen Ace cussing the fuck out of his producer. The Shade Room reported on this. Academics reported on this. It's an interesting situation. Generally, when we see controversies like this, it's because the rapper isn't paying the producer. There's some kind of conflict that the rapper starts, you know, like Kanye West not paying his producers. That was a big controversy, and it continues to be one. This is the opposite, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Do you know the rapper Yungeen Ace? You know, and he's big. I don't think he's not big. I just chose the network.
Do you know a song that he has?
He has a lot of songs. I don't think
I'll look him up.
Yeah, he's not like a hit single, but as you can see in the caption, he's mentioning Rod Wave and NBA Youngboy.
Oh, so he's coming up though for sure.
This is just to put things into perspective. So essentially what's going on is a producer who has worked with Rod Wave and NBA Youngboy apparently is charging Ace more than he's charging them. Somehow he found out. We get very little backstory. They don't even tell us who the producer is, but this conversation is going viral. And I guess I'm not, I have a lot of thoughts about this, but I want to hear yours first. So this is just part of the conversation where I guess him and the producer's on FaceTime.
Bro, I don't be taxing. No, but I'm saying, no, you said that though. So I'm trying to figure out what are you getting at when you say that? But you said it for them. So what are you getting at? I'm trying to speak on their behalf. All right, now continue speaking then. What when you say that, what are you saying though? You trying to say I ain't on shit? That what you trying to say? That's what you trying to say. You trying to say I'm not on that level? That's what you saying?
Oh, bro, they just said that shit.
Look, they trying to say I'm not on that level.
He's saying they bigger artists.
You saying they bigger artists? That's what you saying?
No, they're not trying to say that. They just saying they work more.
No, you said that. To my name. Mind you, you just said that.
Bitch ass nigga on Yungeen Ace. What you saying? Fuck you talking about? I'm gonna tell
Yungeen Ace go harder than Rod Wave.
Hey, I'm gonna tell Rod Wave and I'm gonna tell Youngboy to tell y'all ass. Y'all trying to charge them 20,000 and trying to charge me this and trying to charge niggas under us this. Then that's what you're saying. Now, what if Youngboy and Rod Wave don't use the beats no more? Then what?
That's them, bro. I don't be taxing.
So it's an interesting conversation. Very interesting. Obviously heated. This is the type of the stuff that happens a lot in the business between producers and rappers. And it's unfortunate. I don't think this is the most disrespectful interaction though on either side. So I'm not looking at it from that perspective. I'm looking at it more in terms of communication. But what are your thoughts, Aaron?
I'm kind of confused why he's upset that he's getting charged a different price for the same beat. I'm going to be honest, because that's like standard practice, you know? And it typically has to do with the relationship that you have with the person, not necessarily how big they are, but 100% know that producers will be like, yeah, bro, like, take the beat. It's fine. Just take the beat. I just want credit. Don't take my tag off. Like, but we'll have the beat up for sale for $500, $750, whatever. And then I also know, it's like to even get a pack from Metro Boomin, you usually have to put up significant money right now. I'm talking about like 6 figures. And that's if his team, if you get in contact with the right people, then you get the pack. Then if you choose the song, they have to hear this song. You still have to pay for the beat. It's a whole process, right? Like, I know at least one artist has gone through this process. And that's just if they send you the pack. But there's a lot of artists who can just go into the studio with Metro and just record, like a Future or a 2 Chainz or a Young Thug. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like you could just get in this studio and just record these songs, and he's not like, hold up. Where's my 100K? You know what I'm saying? It's just like different rules apply to different people. That's why the music industry is the Wild Wild West. So that's first my like take, backed up as somebody who's had to negotiate on the side of producers and on the side of artists before. Like, I've seen it. I've seen an artist or a producer who charges 1,000 per beat charge my artist 300 because she was using his beats regularly. But then after a while, he's like, dang, even though you're using my beats regularly and you're signed to an independent label, that recoup be taking a really long time. So he was like, hey, sis, love you. Gotta bring you back up to 1,000, right? But in his mind at first, he's like, I'm gonna do this a solid to my sis because I'm on her album 5, 6, 7, 8 times. I've done all her singles. She's bringing me as an engineer, so I'm getting paid to engineer this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just like things change. There's no quite clear answer from the producer. So it seems like he's saying he does do this, but I can't necessarily find fault. I feel like this is more of an ego conversation with the rapper where he's upset that he's getting charged a different rate. And respectfully, I know exactly who Rod Wave and NBA Youngboy are, not just by name recognition. Immediately, songs from both of them play in my head, and I don't necessarily, I love Rod Wave's the best. That's my favorite Rod Wave song.
Yeah.
But NBA Youngboy, I have a handful of tracks that I listen to kind of regularly. I wouldn't say that I rock with either of them super heavy, but I ain't never heard of bro until this clip. Do you know what I'm saying? Respectfully. So it's like, I could see how it would benefit. And then to the, especially with Youngboy, if Youngboy is using your beats regularly, I'm giving Youngboy all the discounts because Youngboy owns everything, which means I'm getting a better bust down. I'm probably getting part of the master. He's putting out songs like, you know what I'm saying? At one point he was dropping like a mixtape a month. Like, yeah, I'm not seeing it. I can't necessarily empathize with the rapper, but I get why he's upset because it's probably new news to him that he's not respected at the same level, but that's more about business. That's not like a personal respect thing, in my opinion. And he may just be feeling disrespected.
I think it's safe to say he's feeling disrespected. And I think it's also safe to say that he and the producer have a decent enough relationship where they can get on FaceTime, but it did seem like they weren't friends. It was a business relationship. They probably haven't met in person. If they have, it was all business, just the way they were talking with each other, you know? But having said that, Yungeen Ace is signed to Cinematic. NBA Youngboy he was on Atlantic, right? And now he's completely DIY. And Rod Wave is on, what is Rod Wave on? Columbia?
That sounds about right.
I gotta be accurate. Where is Rod Wave signed? He's on Alamo, which is under the Interscope umbrella. I'm pretty sure Interscope is UMG. Okay, so Rod Wave is UMG. I don't know about NBA Youngboy's situation with splits and everything, but prior to that, I mean, if he was on a label, the label pays out for the beats. They have the budget for the beats. They are contracting the producer. They're sending that money to the producer. Here's what I don't understand. People in the comments are saying, and I think you even said that Rod Wave and NBA Youngboy do higher numbers, so you should charge them less for beats. And I understand that that's one way of looking at it. But because Ace isn't signed to a major, I think
he is now. It's they have a deal with Geffen.
Who does?
Yungeen Ace. I'm reading on his.
Okay, so he's
So
now
he got first
calling.
signed to Cinematic in 2018, and then in 2022 he went up to Geffen because he ended up with two records on the Billboard 200.
Okay, so now he's affiliated with an imprint on a major. Okay, now that begs the question: are these rappers paying for their own beats out of pocket, or how is this working, or are they getting a budget? I think probably a lot of them are at that level. Like you're not a Drake or a Kendrick. Like you probably are still pretty hands on with the budgets that you get, or a lot of
For
rappers still
sure.
prefer to just buy the beat. They have better deals with labels in the sense that they can control when they drop stuff. So like, this is a song, I already invested in it. This song is dropping. And with streaming, I guess that's another benefit of the streaming system, where it's not like the labels have to press stuff up and wait for release dates and this and that. They can just drop more liberally. But the other thing, like, why wouldn't you charge, just in the grand scheme of things, why wouldn't you charge an independent rapper less? Because like the justification is, if I produce a record for I don't know, let's use two real world examples. Artists I'm always working with, Ted Park, and here's an artist over here, Rod Wave. Rod Wave is signed to a major. He wants a beat from me. They're offering 10,000. Okay, cool. I'll take 10,000. That's typical for an artist of that level. Ted over here says, "Hey, I just got this 5K advance for an EP. I'll give you 500 for the beat." I'm not going to be like, "Wait a minute, I need 15,000 because I'm going to make even more off the Rod Wave royalties because he streams higher than you." That part doesn't make sense, because it's like you're making more. There's way more money over here, so the advance naturally is higher. Or you could say, oh, it's naturally lower. I think that's a stupid way of looking at it, because recoupment math will shave a lot of that off. So you should get a high advance. But when you're working directly with someone that, or even indirectly with someone that has way less earning potential, I don't know. How I would do business is I would communicate more directly with Ace and just be like, all right, let's work something out. And I would charge less, especially when it gets to that point where, I'm on the phone getting yelled at. Clearly there's some kind of communication breakdown. So that conversation would need to be calmed down, number one. And number two, I'm reading Ace's energy. He's offended. I would be trying to talk through this and turn it from a potentially volatile conversation into a renegotiation scenario. Like, okay, what would make this better for you? Because clearly, like, I'm not gonna burn a bridge with a rapper that number one is streaming in the millions and number two is paying for beats from me. That's crazy. Just because I'm not getting an extra couple thousand or whatever it is, if I'm making a living off this artist and this rapper is consistently buying beats from me, I'm gonna cherish that relationship.
I feel like by the time it gets to the internet, or by the time it gets to him yelling at you on FaceTime, it's like it's too late. But you're applying business logic and a mature sensibility to an ego trip. I think, too, you got to think that kids, I don't know how old bro is. Let me not assume he's a kid. But this, like, okay, there's a clip that's going viral right now where there's a fan who brought SZA a Louis Vuitton bag, right? Like, they're front row. She's singing to them. They're trying to hand her the box with the duster in the bag. And she's like, no, there's not Louis Vuitton in there. And they're like, yes, it is. And she's like, no, there's not. And then they're like, yes, it is. And she's like, I'm not going to take that. You keep that, but I want to come meet you backstage. And then she tells her security, give them a backstage wristband. I'll see them after. Right. So a lot of the comments are like, what are y'all doing in life to where you can afford to give a super rich person a very expensive gift, right? So this is what it seems like, kind of some of the same logic. I won't say it's like induced with fanfare, but could be where it's like you're saying, why is it that you're giving the bigger person the bigger discount? And it could be maybe a loyalty thing too. Maybe Rod Wave and, NBA Youngboy were rocking with him early. Again, I think it's a situation to where when he mentioned them, he's like, well, what if they don't use your beats anymore? He may know them and be like, don't use bro's beats anymore because he tried to do me dirty. But I think it's just more of ignorance of the game. He's trying to apply somewhat street logic, but I still feel like it doesn't apply that way because you're still going to give the head honcho more love than somebody who's pulling up. But I don't know. It's just, I think I get how you're thinking about it. I wasn't even saying I agree with it. I understand why somebody would be like, oh, they're a bigger artist. This may get my name out there more versus just building with somebody. And it could have just been like, he was just trying his luck. Like, 50,000. And then and then dude finds out he only charges Rod Waving them 20,000, but he's charging them 50,000. But yeah, I mean, this sounds like a budget conversation. Like he probably has a certain amount of budget. So he's working with these type of people. Cause when you start talking about 20, 30, 40,000 for a beat, immediately I'm like, that's gotta be label budgets. Cause even artists making really good money, I know a lot of them don't want to spend more than $5,000 for a beat. And a lot of them won't spend more than $1,000 or $1,500 for a beat because they're like, I got a homeboy who can make this beat or recreate it. I'm talking about, I know artists making several $100,000 exclusively off streams every year, and they won't spend more than $1,000 on a beat. And even then they're like, I really only like to do $750. I'll give you a couple more points on the master. Cause they're like, I got options. You know what I'm saying? I could hit beatstars if anything. So yeah, that's my take on it. I think bro is just
and like
ego.
that's what I mean. So I'm always telling producers to be flexible, and it goes back to the Diane Warren Ross Golan thing, right? We as producers have gotten traditionally mistreated and disrespected, and so a lot of us, now that we have these options, we have beat leasing, we have the internet, we have a global market, we have all of these different ways to monetize and control our business more as producers and control, what we get paid for beats. Some of us start getting greedy and we start getting inflexible because we're like, well, we perceive these rappers as having more than us, so let's squeeze everything out of this situation that we can. And it's like, well, that's not sustainable. And someone might end up at, again, I have no idea who the producer in this situation with Yungeen Ace is, but that situation can come up with anybody where they realize, okay, something's not right with the pricing. I'm going to confront this person. There's a communication breakdown and it potentially ends the whole relationship. And it's like, why end that relationship? So in the situation that you brought up where it's a rapper that's making hundreds of thousands off streaming, I mean, look, man, try to look at those situations. I mean, unless it's such a crazy disparity or the deal they're offering is so disrespectful with no equity. If it's a situation where they're offering $1,000 and equity, what are your goals? What are your financial goals? If you sell them a beat every month for $1,000, how does that play into your overall revenue model? You know what I mean? And is that something that's working well for you? Can you scale up from there? Is it help? Because a lot of people will throw away a decent relationship over being offended by something that they perceive as a slight, when in reality, the situation benefits them more than it's hurting them by a long shot. And we just need discernment. We have to determine whether or not that situation is worth burning a bridge over or it's not. Most situations are not, most disagreements aren't worth burning bridges over. And I feel like the ironic part is the people will burn a bridge that they do want to cross, and the people will maintain a bridge and invest everything in that bridge and that bridge is leading to nowhere. I see that all the time. It's weird.
I mean,
it's
this
like
does seem like that situation. He's burning a bridge, and it's like Young Boy and Rod Wave may have no loyalty to him. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I don't know the situation. But yeah,
I don't know where
not
the
being
ego
able to
lies. I don't know
assess
who's right
what's
or
a
wrong
good
in this
bridge and a
situation.
bad bridge. I don't think you should burn any bridges. Honestly, you could put a blockade for a boundary if need be. But yeah, I just never know.
And I'm certainly not telling producers to be cowards and don't stand up for yourself. But if there's a rapper that I'm making a lot of music for, we're making a lot of money together, and it's a difference between me continuing to make, you know, $25,000 a year just working with that rapper, or me making $40,000 a year working with that rapper, you know, realistically take the 25, and you know that's just part of your overall revenue model. What's the, you know, if you're consistently working with them, what's the real problem? If they have a problem with how much you're charging, or if they call you up and say, I notice you're charging this person more. Okay, you know what? Let's talk about this, because I value this relationship more than these actual numbers. Or maybe we can communicate our way around it. Maybe I can say, you know what? I'll charge you what I'm charging. I'll charge you less than what I'm charging them. But because we have a closer relationship, I want 15% on the sound recording side rather than 5. You know, does that work for you? Just figure it out. I mean, if you're on the phone with somebody to the point where they're getting upset, visibly upset about a situation, then you're in a position to speak with them and at least attempt to diffuse the situation and make it favorable for everyone involved. That's just me. I know something like, I don't think either of them were, like, the rapper was kind of crashing out a little more than the producer, but I also feel like the producer just wasn't in the mood to communicate. I'm like, what's really going on here? You know, because Ace is getting charged up and the producer's just like, yeah, well, that's how I feel.
He probably was caught off guard. And then it's just like, how do you explain? I just charge everybody differently. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like a literal, I can see being like, cause you're just like flooded with somebody who's highly emotional about this. And you're just like, that's just what I do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a tough situation.
It sounds like both of them are they both need to refine the way they communicate. You know, like Ace needs to calm down, and the producer, whoever he is, needs to do the opposite of calming down and clearly communicate and offer solutions, right? You know, because getting mad isn't going to help, and then just kind of going, well, that's just how it is, isn't going to help either.